For this next brief video, I wanted to alert you to some limitations on this sensitivity presentation. If we are able to hit our 100% price, and prices don't change, 100% on our yields and 100% on our prices, will generate our $329,000 of cash flow. But note that what we're doing here is we're assuming that all of our crops vary consistently with one another. And all of the prices move up and down together. So if we're at 50% yields on corn, we're also 50% yields on wheat and beans. Well, we understand that that is not likely to occur exactly as presented. If bean yields are down by 30%, will corn yields also be down by exactly 30%? Well, probably not. But since yields will typically move somewhat in tandem with one another for purposes of our sensitivity presentation, we assume that they do. By parallel to that, if corn prices are up 30%, will bean prices be up exactly 30%? Well, that's what our model here would show. Again, probably not, but since grain prices tend to move in tandem with one another directionally, this may be reasonably correct. So while we recognize that yields and prices across crops are not going to be perfectly correlated, this whole farm cash flow table still provides some pretty considerable value. It's intended to provide not an exactly precise picture of a farm's profitability, but it does show an overall picture of what might happen to cash flows if yields were impaired equally and if prices across crops are in fact correlated to one another. The whole farm sensitivity is presented to show a big picture arc for the whole farm profit outcomes in low and high price scenarios and in low and high yield scenarios. And it assumes a general correlation in crop prices and crop yields. To see, we do have some features that we'll talk about that allow you to drill down and see additional detail. We'll show you in a moment the ability to show sensitivities to each specific crop and how the user can drill down into individual crop cash flows. The model has other ways to go about testing individual scenarios. For example, a user can test what would happen in the event of a specific, let's say 30% yield decline for corn and a 20% yield shortfall for beans. The user could test a 10% increase in price for corn and a 15% decline in beans, or any combination of price and sensitivity factors for any individual crop. This would allow the user to produce a more precise estimate based on their user-defined inputs. We're going to show you how to go about doing that later by selecting price and sensitivity factors by individual crop. Also, as crops become known, let's say, for example, the winter wheat crop is complete, we do allow the user to force the yields to be final when they are final, and then they will no longer be sensitized for the purposes of these sensitivity tables. And we can do the same for costs. So to the extent that both initially as well as over time, we provide features that allow the user to, make modifications to cause these broad arc sensitivity tables to be able to be more precise. But taking a step back at a very high level view, you can see what this farm's likely profitability will be under a broad brush stroke of very low prices, very high prices, very low yields, and very high yields. And I think that this does provide that high level bird's eye view that provides meaningful value to the farmer in terms of managing the levers that then can manage the risk profile of the farm more effectively. So let's go on and show you some additional features of this sensitivity screen in our next video.